So we can go with next speaker, which is they are Frédéric Joannick Zeta from the National Library of France and David Aymonan from AVE. I don't know if I say anything right.
Hello, Roberto. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I had some technical problems, last minute problems. Do you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for the invitation. With Frédéric Joannick Zeta, we will present some conclusions of the working group specific to the analysis of RDA. So I start now. I got the presentation somewhere on the computer of my colleague Eloise. Thank you, Eloise, for the for your warm welcome on your machine. So I try to share the presentation. Yes, here it is. This one, this screen. Oof, sorry, I'm looking for the right screen. Come in here. Where can I share? Is there? Yes, I can share here. Do you see my screen?
We do.
Fine. Is it full size?
Yes.
Good. So here I start. So the presentation is called Analysis of the Current Version of RDA, a French Perspective. It's not the truth, but we will say today it's a point of view, a French point of view. Now, yeah, it moves. So since 2015, France has got a specific program called Transition Bibliographique and several working groups and bodies. The working group RDA in France, led by Françoise Lerèche, was in charge of the thorough analysis of the 19th version of RDA. And after 1.5 years of work of this group and many people involved, the conclusions of a report issued by the group were approved in June 2021 at a meeting involving the two bibliographic agencies, National Library and Agence Bibliographique, from which I'm the director, and the ministries in charge of libraries in France, culture and higher education. We will now present the main observations of the report with Frédéric in a few slides. So, conclusions of and observations. Is RDA a universal standard? What we can say is today that RDA is the only internationally oriented cataloging code that is deliberately oriented towards an entity relationship model. This is very important. Its new version broadens targets audience beyond libraries towards all the web communities. And this is also very important. But there are some downsides to the openness. The multiplication of options reinforces uniqueness of each profile in every country or in every discipline or profession. The presentation made by the British Library at the last EURID meeting was particularly telling in that regard. Interoperability will therefore be mainly supported by alignments between name graphs and the semantic web, with an increasing role of international identifiers. Last but not least, access points will be mainly managed by application profiles. It means that they will remain mainly local. All these characteristics of RDA will impede in some way full universal bibliographic control and seamless data exchanges due to the necessary data conversions between profiles and countries. Another point, is RDA a suitable code for catalogers? The new RDA toolkit is in fact closer in form to an ontology than to a cataloging code or policy. Libraries, in order to serve the needs of catalogers, are therefore obliged to extract the cataloging rules from RDA, from the RDA toolkit, and recompose their own policy at a national level. And this is a very hard and long job. Another constraint will be to keep this code alive on a day-to-day basis in order to cope with the evolution of RDA. So we know that we will have a lot of work to do in the future. And now I give the floor to Frédéric.
Thanks, David. And hello, everybody. So I'm the head of the metadata department at BNF, and I'm the alter ego of David Emona in the French National Transition Bibliographic. So I thought RDA and RDA-FR are based on the IFLA-LRM model, and even if there is more and more convergence in both directions on serials, for example, there is still differences in analysis. I will cite today only one example, that of aggregative works, which you can see on the screen the modeling scheme according to RDA. From our point of view, the solution adopted by the revised RDA is costly in current cataloging, creation of a new work for each new version of the aggregate, repetition of relations to the creator of the aggregated works in each manifestation, not very functional, loss of grouping by work, and in some way confusing. Who are the creators of the aggregate work corresponding to a new version, for example, a translation? So you see the interpretation adopted by RDA-FR code is a little different. I will skip the two following slides. That's the same idea, but more detail. If you can change the slide, David, sorry. Okay. Still, from our point of view, RDA is not always compatible with international identifiers, starting with ISNI, whose use is spreading in the cultural industry, which in this case makes it difficult to interoperate with other data players. Beyond the differences in interpretation of the IFLA-LRM model, another difficulty is that all the needs identified for French libraries are not yet covered by RDA. Some entities, classes, concepts necessary to carry out subject indexing in particular, and some types of resources, musical works for example, are not yet covered. On few aspects, RDA-FR is more advanced. And as RDA-FR owes a lot to RDA, we hope that on this aspect, the work carried out by the French standardization expert will be useful to RDA. So, and it will be the next slide and the last slide. David? So, as a conclusion, the analysis of the revised version of RDA supports the French position to continue the drafting of RDA-FR, is the French code based on IFLA-LRM model and railing on RDA. As in 2015, this code will conform to the international rules whenever possible, but will bend them to the French context whenever necessary. It is based on the French translation of RDA while arranging for addition, exception, or adaptation to French-specific cases. This analysis confirms also the necessity of continuing a long-time involvement in international work around RDA, feeding the discussion and advocating for converging practices. Coming to present the main conclusions of this report to you today is testament to that. And thank you, Roberto, for responding positively to our proposal. And future meeting within ERING will allow us to continue the discussion. The report is available online, but unfortunately in French. We are working on an executive summary in English, and I apologize for that. For us, the RGR analysis report is also a first deliverable on the reversed path of the French bibliographic transition in the medium term. This space will include objectives for training, relations with library software publishers, and the evolution of format in parallel with the progress of work to transform bibliographic and authority data into LM entities. And you have two presentations about today. So it's work to be continued. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, David and Frederic. Sabina, we have any question? Time for a question.
Is RDFR written in original toolkit fashion or in the 3R data dictionary fashion?
We still use the original toolkit fashion, but we're thinking of a new publication tools, so we may have some change about the organization of the different 8 items of the code. But we still use the original toolkit fashion, and we mostly keep it.
Okay. So thank you.
It is also, sorry, Françoise, I complete a little. We will keep RDA-FR is different from RDA because we have some differences, but it is also thought as an application profile with choices of precise rules among all the possibilities offered by the RDA. So it will remain written as a cataloging code using for catalogers, but an organization entity by entity.
Okay, thank you for this point, Françoise.